All right, part two. Welcome back. We are continuing on. Figured we'd split the video up because it was just too long of one video. So we finished up bag C, getting the front mounted. I like how sleek, how low profile it is when it mounts in there. The only tip that I have is make sure you're using the 1/4 inch screws. I started using the longer ones, and you don't want to do that because it's going to push through the gearbox and then jam up your gear. I noticed if it's freely moving here, you're good. Other than that, I like how nice it is. Everything's going together pretty well.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and assembling his CVs. So I'm going to start on mine, and that's where we're at right now. Ireland's upstairs doing whatever. I think we're going to call it a night for this first part 1 and part 2 build. I'll give you some of our insight, or at least my insight at the moment. As you can see, we got through bag C, and the only thing else left on the front, which we're not at that step, is to put your turnbuckles on and things like that. But I'm going to go ahead and just touch on a couple things that I noticed when I was building this. So right off the bat, I broke the shock tower on mine right in the center here, and maybe somebody else did it too, I don't know, but I'm going to tell you how I did it. The only part of the shock tower that's connected is this little section right up top, and it's like a 1/4 inch, right? So it's a little tricky getting this thing on. I mean, I wouldn't say it's hard, but it just takes a little finagling to get the front diff through the tower. It's not hard, but you know, now that I built one, I can go back and and do one easier. For the first time, you're going to notice that it's a little bit weird. So, anyways, what I did was I put this clip on, right? Then I realized I want to take the tower back off and just double check the holes. So I was taking the tower off, and I was just trying to wiggle it. And I was actually trying to be careful, but I was wiggling it, and it snapped right in the middle, because when the 2 screws are through it, you have less material. Even you got a 1/4 inch stretch here, but through here you got even less. So there's it takes barely anything to snap this. So mine snapped about right here. You can't tell, and it would probably work, but I'm going to cut a new tower for it anyway, so I'll just leave it on for now and rebuild it later. So that was one thing I noticed. You just got to be careful, because there's the tower itself has 2 holes that go on the drive shaft. There's 2 nylon circles that go through the tower right in here. They go through the tower. So if you don't get it on right and you finagle in it, you put too much pressure, it'll snap. So then ultimately I just stuck a little pin in there and just pried it off. So just be careful with that if you haven't started your build yet. And also be careful with your pulley. I'll turn it. Let's see if you'll see. There's a little bit of a wobble in the collar part. I don't think it's going to be a big deal on mine. I took it out and readjusted it and put it back on. It's the best it's going to be. But it's not going to be 100% straight. So I can't wait to see if Jeff will release aluminum pulleys with these to eliminate that whole 2 pieces, the inner plastic and the outer for the guide on the belt. That would be nice to do. The other thing is I ran into the turnbuckle ball joints, for your tie rods and the ball studs, for your steering and everything. The 2 that are on the belt crank, when they're in all the way, they scratch on the chassis. So we backed them out a little bit, and I think you could just grind them down. From what I saw, somebody else talked about grinding these down a little bit on the bottom, which is fine. Or maybe they would work. They might be too tall if you screwed them up too high. They might be too tall, but it still looks like it's going to clear the pulley on that side and this side. So I don't know if maybe putting a washer underneath it, who knows, might be fine. I'm starting off with the position here. I don't know where it's going to be, because this is like a hub-centric type of adjustment. When you turn it, it moves the center of the shaft up and down to tighten up the belt. So also, when you're putting your pins in for your axles, don't forget to put that little crush spacer in between your bearings. I did forget on one, because it's a pain in the butt to take all this off again. That little pin in there, it's a compression pin, so it's a little bit difficult to get out, that little pin. But other than that, I really enjoy the build. What I really like about it is how low profile it is. It's really low profile. It's so cool looking that it doesn't look like it's taken up. It's like filling up the space you wish it always filled when you're building RC10s through the years. Other than that, so far so good. We got the rear diff here because you build the diffs first. I got everything in there. Everything's on. So now it's just the rear end, getting that going, and then the shock. So this is just part 2. I'll update. I think we're going to start again tomorrow or the day after, and we'll go into part 3 on this. If this was a full build video, there's no way I would be editing for days. So I don't like to edit that much. So we're this far, both of us, and we're going to call it a night and then continue on next. So part 2 is here, and those are my insights. I wish they gave us more of that grease, that silicone grease. We didn't get much of that. And it's just like really thick stuff. It's really weird to use. So, but that's my insight so far. Part 2 build, guys. Some of those things to look out for when you're building yours. Just be careful with the tower up here. That's a critical point there. So, all right. Well, like, subscribe, hit that notification, guys. We'll continue on part 3 on the next one. Appreciate you guys watching. We'll see you in the next one. Later.